Welcome to the Copper King Mine and Railroad. Today we're going to another ghost town. This one's Lead Mine. It was right below Copperton and right in the mouth of Bingham Canyon. So stay tuned. So today we're going to talk about Lead Mine. Lead Mine was just below Copperton. You can see this map right here. Now Copperton was sitting up on this bluff, and then you went down this little hill down into Lead Mine, and then on up the canyon to Frogtown, and then to Bingham. Here's some great old pictures of the area. Now they just had a few little businesses in here, and then just a few houses up on the hillside. Now that one time they had a lead mill here. I don't have any pictures of it, but here's a block print of it. This is in 1896, this block print. And we have some Stamboard foreign insurance maps of it, of the mill itself. And it's kind of cool to see the maps of this old mill. Was right down here at Lead Mine. Now, this mill serviced the mines on the east side of the Ochre Mountains, mines like the Brooklyn or Yosemite mine. And what was kind of neat, they just delivered the ore to the mill by way of this gravity-fed tram. So these guys would just ride these ore cars down, and then they'd have mule teams or horse teams pulling these cars back up to the mine. Here's some pictures of the Yosemite mine works right here. So that was there. And then also in 1906, Denver Rio Grande got a contract with Utah Copper and Boston Consolidated Copper to haul their ore out of the mine area. So they came this route, and then they crossed the canyon right here. And you see the bridge, this neat old panoramic shot of the canyon. This was also the home of the Precipitation Plant. We call it the P plant. This is where they take the water from the mine area, and then they would put the scrap metal in it. This is called the leaching process, and then it would turn into copper after a time. So they built this. Look at this building. They built this really long building. I think it was in the Guinness Books of World Record for the longest building at one time. But they would just grind up the scrap metal, and they put it in these vats, squirt it in there, and then they would just let it sit there for I don't know how long, for days, and then it would just turn in about 90% copper. So that was kind of neat. And over time, this process changed, and they changed the look of it. I think the building blew down at one time, but they just left it, and it actually worked out better. So here's a bunch of pictures of them working at the P plant right here. Then eventually they just put them in these great big cones, filled these great big cones with the scrap metal. And now they even took and ran the water up to the mountain, up on the dumps, the old mine dumps, and then they would put sprinklers up there to get more runoff water to feed the P plant here. So let's look at some of these pictures I have of the lead mine area. These were taken July 15th, 1964, and you can see this is where they set up the picket line for a strike they was having. There was a lot of strikes at Bingham Canyon Mine over the years. These are great pictures of the area right here, though. See all these strikers standing around, and they've got their cars parked in the road. See the P plant right there next to them. The dumps on the mountainside there. All these guys standing with their picket signs and stuff. It's kind of neat. This is really neat. This is a lady coming out of the canyon. She's just waving at the strikers. Maybe her husband's over there. Then we have some pictures taken in April in 1973, and looks like they're doing some politicking up there, and they have some guys running for something. Must have been a cold day. There's not very many people out there, but it gives you a good idea what a lead mine looked like with the houses up on the hillside there. It's kind of neat. And then here's some pictures of the businesses up in lead mine. Here's some few stores, a souvenir shop, the House of Copper, and then, of course, the Moonlight Garden, the beer joint there. Just a few stores, like I said, was right in here. Then there was a few houses just up on the hillside and back of these businesses. There's a few pictures of these houses. But then over time, you know, like everything else in Bingham, it just kind of faded away. And they eventually filled the canyon with waste material. Here's a picture of them with the waste material filled in. So that was a little community of lead mine. Ghost towns out here in the west came and went with the failure of the mines, but the communities around Bingham became ghost towns because of the success of the mine. So December 1st, 2020, I took a walk past the barricades and came down, and we'll take a look at the lead mine as it is to December 21st anyway. See, that's a picture of me in that shadow right there. We're just walking down here, and there's a gulch right here, as you can see. Now, this is looking up the hill. I didn't realize how sharp a corner that was when you're at the top of the hill, but it's really sharp. Now, this is on the other side. This is where the Precipitation Plant was. There's nothing over there. There may be a building or two. Then up on the hill, they're putting the conveyor belt. You can see some. Let me see if I can get up there a little bit closer. Then do some still shots of that conveyor line they're putting in. They're moving it out of the 5490 tunnel, and they're making it come down the hill here. They're putting the crusher up 6190, I think. But this is the community of lead mine. This is where it would have been right here. As you can see, there's really nothing here. There's some cribbing up on the hillside right there. Let's see if we can get a still of that one. There's just some cribbing and maybe a little bit of a foundation. There's a low spot right here. You take a look at this older photograph of it, and I guess it's always been there, that low spot. But all the way down at the bottom right here, this is where the little businesses were, and the houses were up on the hill. There's just nothing here anymore, for sure. Do some close-ups. Now, there was this rock right here. Then I found a picture of that rock, and they brought down from the mine, I guess. It's a piece of ore. Here's a 1973 picture of that big piece of ore right there. He's doing some campaigning up there. Anyway, this is the hillside. There's some barricades up there, but no foundations. There's very little up in here anymore. This is on the other side. Now look at this chain link fence. They built the post out of rails from the railroad and then put cables in between there. I guess they didn't want anybody to crash through there. That's a real sturdy fence for sure. Look at that. I actually remember that. And this is over on the other side. This is where the pea plant would have been. They're doing something down in there. There's the old Precipitation Plant sign right there. So as you look down there, there's just nothing down there anymore. Scan along there. And this is the road that came down to lead mine, and this is looking down the other side. Nothing here anymore, so that was the community of lead mine right there.